Bonjour à tous, bienvenue dans le podcast de l'entracte de diplômés en cinéma discute de films classiques, emblématiques et obscurs d'autrefois. Étaient vos autoscars W Fitchett.
Robbie Tweedale. There we go.
And that is how we'll intro in this episode. Jesus Christ. Well,
you're right, everyone.
We're off to a banger if that's what we're doing.
That is fantastic stuff. Hi, everyone.
Hello. And I also want to preface this by saying this is the latest we filmed in a very long time. It's currently 23 past 7 in the evening.
23 minutes past my goddamn bedtime, I'll tell you that much.
I think you made that exact joke.
I probably did when we did the New Year's
like
one.
the one where we did the top 10 like films of 2020. Yeah, no, this one it's not massively late time, but I also want to preface this. It's like I got back today from traveling from the south of the country up to the north. I was not driving, but also I got back at I think 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock ish.
Yeah,
so
not too bad.
So you know,
did you have a good time?
I did. It was very good.
Nice.
Very good.
Excellent.
I visited family. The only reason why you would go to Swindon.
True. Accurate.
It's the best way I can describe Swindon is if it's it's a load of dual carriageways that take you to not interesting places.
Well, that sounds thrilling. You're really selling it, man.
Hey, I don't. Hey, I'm not the guy that's trying to sell it. I'm just simply saying how it is. I met the newest member of the family. My cousin, his son. I met his son.
Oh, nice.
Oh, he's absolutely adorable. Absolutely adorable fella. He's got a full head. He was born in July, and he's got he's basically got a full head of hair now.
What a legend! My God.
Yeah, so he's just there. He's brilliant.
Good on him.
Yeah,
they're great. They're great until they can talk.
Oh, he's already got things.
Really?
I can already tell he's going to have everything to say because he's very. He's very that already. Yeah, my mum.
Nice.
My mum very very much so was the one holding him.
Nice.
And then she realized that she had a cup of coffee that was made, but she hadn't got to it at that point, so she gave him to me.
Oh God.
And how that worked out was he was in my arms for a bit, and I was sat down. Then he started crying, so I thought, okay, I'll stand up. I'll do the rocking motion thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then he chilled out for a bit. He was staring up at the light. That wasn't on, but he was just staring up at the ceiling, just fascinated by something. I don't know, whatever that.
Whatever babies think about.
Whatever he was doing in his head, and then it didn't take massively long till he once again started crying. I was like, this isn't gonna.
I can't do this.
Right so then my mum once again took him back.
Excellent.
So I just drew my attention to the dog that was there.
Nice.
She was lovely.
I used to get made fun of when my nephew was first born because they kept saying that I used to hold him like a bomb. So I didn't know what to do. I just kind of held him like that, and no one could see the kind of motion I'm doing. If you're just an audio listener, the way that Rafiki holds Simba at the beginning of Lion King, that's kind of the vibe.
That's how my cousin handed his son off to his wife when he realized he had a full nappy. He was like,
there you go. Nice.
So yeah, good time, and now I'm back here.
Excellent.
And then I realised at the time recording this as well, I'm literally in a college tomorrow morning.
Really?
Giving a presentation on black and white films. So
Oh,
I'm
nice.
literally doing that. I'm doing that as well. But yeah.
Joke's on you. I'm going rock climbing tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great. Yeah. Big weeks all around for us, isn't it?
Yeah. It's
yeah. Again, I don't know what I can talk about and what I can't, but a new thing happening in my life on Wednesday, rather exciting.
Nice stuff.
If when I find out I can say anything more, I will, because at the minute I don't want to risk anything.
And that's perfectly fine. Do you know what else happened? I would just say this as well. Literally, I'm in Wagamama on the Friday having dinner in Swindon, and then I get a message from someone being like, hey, we're all back at Oakroyd. We're having a games night. Do you want to come round? I'm like, I'm literally not in town.
Why would you do this?
But it's like the one time I'm not in town. Literally the one time.
Yeah.
I'm not in Hartlepool, and then I get invited. It's just absolute sod's law, isn't it?
I had a question, by the way, which is going to be I'm going to add another person into the catalogue of mystical people that may or may not exist that we talk about on this podcast. About Miss Tyler's birthday.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, no, neither do I, because I saw it. He's doing one of them things where for his birthday he wants people to donate to a charity thing. Which good on you, Tyler. So I didn't know if it had already been his birthday. If I've missed that, if so, I feel real bad.
I don't think it has, because I haven't.
So I mean,
no, surely not.
No,
hang on,
because I love that guy. I don't.
No, we're fine.
Okay, good.
We're good.
Thank God.
I had a quick check there. I was like, no, surely not. Yeah.
It'd be bad if we both had. And we both realised whilst doing this. God bless him.
So Angus, when you are listening to this, just make sure to pass on the message that we didn't forget Tyler's birthday.
Yeah, just make sure that he knows that I'm thinking of him, but not as much as I should be doing, because I didn't realise if it was his birthday or it wasn't. So good on you. Have fun at uni, suckers.
Yeah.
Couldn't be me.
One final, yeah.
Way-oh. It's exciting stuff.
Yeah. It flies by.
It really does fly by. Take all advantage of it that you can, because it's awful as soon as you finish.
I feel like we did as well. Like, thinking back, like how I always said, like, I never want to like look back at uni and be like, I don't think I really did anything. I think for that third year, that final year, I think we did.
We really branched out and talked to people, didn't we?
I feel like we made up for the fact that we were in a pandemic for most of our
definitely.
first 2 years. I think that our third year was such a big, like, we did plenty.
Yeah, we did bits. We went out and about. Yeah. We ventured outside of Hartlepool. That was exciting.
Oh,
We'd literally never done that before third year, which is ridiculous because there's nothing in Hartlepool.
No, yeah, but I remember we talked loads. It's like, we should all go to Newcastle. We should all do that. We didn't do Newcastle. We did Middlesbrough.
We still need to do Newcastle.
We do.
I was talking to Leo about it. I saw Leo this week. He came to Cottingham for an evening, and him and Elise were saying that I need to come to Hartlepool. So I will do it at one weekend soon. I promise. One weekend in the next month or so, I will be up.
Yeah. Well, I know. I nearly got at the last wrestling show. If I literally had any other means of getting back to Hartlepool, I would have done this. But I got invited by someone. Be like, hey, do you want to come out a night out? I went, no, I can't.
I can't. I'm really sorry.
There'll be no way for me to get back to Hartlepool unless I pay ridiculous amounts of money for a taxi.
Yeah, no.
So no, not tonight. Sorry, but yeah.
Oh, bless you.
But if I have Leo with me,
yeah,
I can then just have that excuse in the sense of he's the lift.
Yeah, that's Leo.
He wouldn't be drinking then if that's the case.
Yeah, exactly. Drag him along and make him not drink. See how happy he is.
On a Newcastle night out.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh God, bless him.
But yeah, with our general evening chit chat to one side, we'll probably have more of that within the intermission section. How about we get on to this week's film, Robbie?
Hell yeah, man.
And this week's film. Oh, before I get started.
Oh yeah.
I need to remember just to keep saying these things. General housekeeping. We've got, if you go in the description, there's obviously links to everything that you need for intermission. Mainly the Instagrams. That's where either you can see the two of us, either Letterboxd and Instagram, and also just the intermission generally. That's where news of the intermission is posted, and that's where you can find out what films we are going to be talking about each week, as well as there's time codes in the description, so in case you want to know what topics are getting discussed at a certain point. For example, if you were watching last week's episode and you might have been like, wow, 2.5 hours on the Sword of Doom, that's really weird. If you check the time code, you would know we only talked about the Sword of Doom for half of the episode.
Oh, really? Well, yeah, that was a long,
fat intermission.
It was a hefty intermission because of me having to recap D23. Just all of it. I had to recap an entire weekend in about 15 minutes.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was dangerous.
Yeah, there's that as well, but probably won't be that instance this time
No,
around.
probably not. I have nothing to talk about.
I've actually seen a film within the past week. I've actually
nice.
went to the cinema so I can talk about something within the intermission.
Excellent.
Stay tuned for that. But also in the description as well. As always, there are mental health links in the description for all that stuff. Whether if you are in a rough place or if you know someone who is in a rough place. I feel like that we need to say that a bit more as well. If you feel like you have a mate who is, or like a close one who is in a certain place that they don't feel like they can get out of. It's a very difficult time being that person if you are in that place because you're not actively looking for things. If you're a mate or someone close to that person, be respectfully approachable to them. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I'll say that. So yeah, links in the description below for mental health, for information and general help and all that stuff. Again, those links are not the solution, but they're the first step to solving your problems. And with that being said, Robbie,
Yes.
let's get on to this week's film of discussion. And this week's film we're talking about is the 1964 romantic musical The Umbrellas of Cherbourg. The film is directed by Jacques Demy and written by Jacques Demy with music by Michel Legrand. The film stars Catherine Deneuve, Nino Castellanovo, Anne Vernon, Marc Michel, Ellen Farner, Muriel Perret and Marc Michel. Plot synopsis of the film according to IMDb is a young woman separated from her lover by war faces a life-altering decision. Yeah, that's a fair one, but I don't know if that's...
I guess.
I
suppose.
Accolades the film holds. It has a 97% on the tomato meter and an audience score of 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. It has a 7.8 out of 10 on IMDb and a score of 4.1 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd.
And Damien Chazelle bloody loves it.
Yes, and other accolades that it holds is that it was nominated for 1 Grammy Award for Best Original Score written for a motion picture or television show. It was nominated for 1 Golden Globe for Best Foreign Language Film. It was nominated and won 3 awards at the Cannes Film Festival, including the Technical Grand Prize, the OCIC Award, tied with Barren Lives, and also won the Palme d'Or at that year's Cannes Film Festival. And it was nominated for 5 Academy Awards, including Best Foreign Language Film, Best Adapted Music, Best Original Score for Michel Legrand and Jacques Demy. Nominated also for Best Original Song for the song I Will Wait For You. And it was also nominated for Best Original Screenplay for Jacques Demy. And as Robbie said, Damien Chazelle's all-time favourite film.
Apparently so, yeah.
He claims it to be, in his opinion, the greatest film ever made, which is interesting to me. And my opinions on this film, Robbie, is that it's a film that I like a lot. I don't know if I would say I could love this film as such, because I don't know. But it's a film that I score very highly to me. Like 2 summers ago, or it might be last summer. It was last summer. I bought the Jacques Demy Criterion box set, so I just binged a load of Jacques Demy films, and obviously this is within that set. This was like the 3rd film in it, and it's a film that I like quite a bit. Watching it today, this is the 2nd time I've watched it, and watching it today, it's a film that I realized I like it more as it goes on. Like, I'm not massively high on the first part, and then we keep going, if I'm being perfectly honest. I like the end of the first part, in all honesty. But basically I like the best part of the film is like the ending, I think, to me. Like it's a film that the weakest point is the beginning and the strongest point is the end, and to me it just keeps, it's that type of thing with it. I'm a big fan of how it's made. I like the general look of this film. It's a film that's very aesthetically pleasing that we will probably discuss a lot about.
Yes.
A film that I like quite a bit. But nothing. But no, I don't. It's not my favorite Jacques Demy film. I will say that. My favorite being The Young Girls of Rochefort, another musical that he did. That film more of a conventional musical than this film, which is more stylized like an opera, where literally every single bit of dialogue is sung.
Yes.
Which is interesting. It's an interesting decision. And you, Robbie, and I will, before you tell me your views on this,
Yes.
I want to see if how accurate I am at guessing your opinions on this film.
Yes. Okay. I am genuinely curious as to what you're going to say here.
And this was something I was and it was as I was watching this film, I was almost like partially thinking to myself, imagining you watching this film. So this is what I am going to say. So, Robbie...
Yes.
Robbie is a massive fan of La La Land, and the only reason why I mention that is because Damien Chazelle was very vocal of how much he loves the Umbrellas of Cherbourg, and he stated how much that film basically influenced La La Land massively. I think if you're watching this film purely for that reason, you'll be sorely disappointed, is all I'm saying. And I think Damien Chazelle has fucked this film for a lot of people, is all I'm saying. And I think Robbie's thought about this film is he didn't like it. And Robbie, what's your opinions on the Umbrellas of Cherbourg?
Fucking sucks, bro. I mean, you know, I as I said, big fan of La La Land. And you know, I've been wanting to watch this. Well, I've been told to watch this quite often, mostly by you, being like, Damien Chazelle really likes this, you should watch this. And so
I want to say as well, I've been more of a promoter of Jacques Demy's filmography as a whole.
Yeah. You've been more just like watch this guy's stuff, you know, and all that. And so you know, I wasn't going into this with any pretense. I wasn't expecting it to be like La La Land,
like the original La La Land. You weren't like,
I wasn't being like, well, let's see what inspiration Damien Chazelle took from it. I'll tell you what Damien Chazelle took from it: the colors and the costumes. That's it. That's like story-wise,
a bit of a tragic romance, a bit of like a doomed romance is what he also took from that. But that's not solely this film though. That's like the doom romance doesn't belong to this film. It's
and I will say before I start to probably slander this film for the next hour, it looks real nice. I'll give it that. Cinematography-wise, this film looks incredible. Like it looks so good. But one thing that I will say, coming off the accolades the film holds section of the podcast, is that it baffles me that it won best original song at anything.
It was nominated, but yes.
Okay, well, because the whole film feels like the same song. It's just 1 hour and a half long song that has no chorus.
Yeah.
It's an
again.
You know.
It's an opera.
Yeah.
It's a film opera.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
I don't mean that like the music is opera music. I mean that like when you go and see an opera, that's just what opera is. It's just singing. It's just people singing the dialogue. Yeah.
But like what doesn't help this film for me, well, I think is the biggest thing that irritates me wholeheartedly, is the characters. It's basically the writing. I hated all the characters, and there isn't a story. But nobody learns anything.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
The main characters start off madly in love, and then one of them goes away, and the other one is sad because she has no character traits apart from liking the boy. And then they come back, but she's married someone else in the meantime, for some reason, even though she could have not. There was no turning point which made her be like, I need to marry this man, actually. There was nothing like that. She just does, because she does. I don't know. He comes back, and then because she's married someone else, he's real sad. And he just wanders about punching people or whatever and shouting at people. And then and going into a washing machine shop that's clearly trying to open, and then getting told to move because they're trying to wheel things in. And he's like, what about it? Why have you gone in there? I don't know. I don't know why.
Because that was the umbrella store.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that was not made clear to me. And then then she's settled for someone that she doesn't like and had a kid, and then he settles for someone that he doesn't like and has a kid, and then the movie ends. And nobody learns.
So like
anything.
how La La Land ends.
Yeah, I guess, but like,
am I right, lads? Am I right?
No, you're not right. because
I know.
It makes sense for the characters in La La Land to not end up together. It's better for both of them if they're not together by the end. In this, there is no reason anyone does anything. They're just not together at the end because they're not. I don't know.
I want to say as well, that's basically going to be the only comparison of La La Land. We're not doing a whole thing with it.
There is
that's not what this.
There is
that's
nothing
not.
else.
That's not what this. That's not what this is. That's not what this is. I saw like one video where it's like, oh, La La Land and Umbrellas of Cherbourg. Is it plagiarism or inspiration? It's like it's just clearly influence. There's no plagiarism. Like it just clearly is that.
Ryan Gosling at the end of the movie is wearing a suit that he wears in this at one point. They're wearing a similar suit.
No, yeah, but again, it's like right.
But it's it's not. The
Right.
characters aren't similar. The story is nothing.
We may as well
similar.
get this. We may as well just get that out of the way with now, because obviously this is what people might think of this thing will be. Right?
Yes.
Straight. Yes. It's a musical, and so is La La Land.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what that is. The color palette is also very similar. Yes, it is.
Yes.
I mean, it's pretty much identical. The color palette is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And yes, there is a romance in this, and there's a romance of two, people who are whimsically in love with each other.
Yeah, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
It's a romance story. That's also another thing it has in common with La La Land.
Yes.
That's what it is. And the dude, he wants to basically open his own place. That's also a similarity.
I have so many questions about the ending of this film.
Seb wants to open a jazz bar. Guy wants to open a gas station.
He wants to open and boy, would you not forget that it's an SO garage. It's an SO garage, okay? It's SO everywhere.
And there you go. But those are literally the only similarities in this entirety of anything between La La Land and Umbrellas of Cherbourg.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That's it.
Yeah.
Umbrellas of Cherbourg, from my thing with this, is that I think I'm also not sure if this is the best Jacques Demy to start with in terms of watching Jacques Demy films.
Oh, God, what have you done to me?
Which you all might be wondering, Oscar, why did you make Robbie's first Jacques Demy film? It's like, because it's his most well known. That's why.
Yes.
So I thought well, we'll go from there. Because I'm not being funny. If I went, we're gonna watch Lola from 1961, what's the conversation there? What is it?
I have no idea because I don't know what that movie is.
It's a really good French new wavy type of film that Jacques Demy did. That the Roland
Emmerich.
The husband of Genevieve.
Yes.
The one she marries.
Yeah, that guy.
He's the main character of the film Lola, and the girl that he talks about in this film is Lola from the film. He basically tells you what happened in that film.
Right, okay. So basically, Jacques Demy had the first cinematic universe.
Yes, he did.
Brilliant,
and do you know that one little section when he is talking about Lola, and then we randomly cut to a sweeping shot of a location? That's the location in Lola. So that's that's what that is. So me watching them in order like that, not realizing there's a connection one bit. Yeah. I see this dude. I'm like, wait, I recognize that actor, and then they say his name. Like, wait, that's the same character from Lola, and then he sings about Lola. So to me, I'm like, oh, that's cool, that's sweet, that's a nice one. But
is that why he has no characterization in this film? Because you should have watched the other one beforehand.
Kind of, yeah. You got his whole character in that film. You got everything in there.
God damn it! If I hear one filmy person praising this movie and then slagging off the MCU because they're like, no one gets any characterization. Yeah, because there's films before, and you were fine with it in Umbrellas of Cherbourg. You're not it.
That's not my issues with the MCU. I'll tell you that. That's not what I have a problem with the MCU over.
Yeah.
but that's what that is. But so, and obviously, and this is Jacques Demy's first go at a musical as well. I think this might have been one of his first proper goes at colour as well.
Oh.
Which
he goes all out, doesn't he?
Which I mean, I want to say that as well. Like I will say it. Like I think like obviously we're quite. We're not on any side with this bollocks film versus digital debate. Neither of us are on any side with it. We find it. I will say I find it ridiculous when people are far too purist about film.
Yeah.
And very anti-digital. I will say that. But I also find it people very dismissive who are very anti-film because I'm like, well,
I mean,
you know, there's, and I will say for a fact, I think this is one of the best examples of film medium cinematography.
Yeah.
Like I don't think we could recreate this look that authentically in digital, in all honesty.
No, because it's got that like, it's got that. None of it's like uber sharp.
No.
And so everything kind of there's like it smudges and it looks more painterly, and you couldn't do that with a digital camera.
Like I think that's the main thing that I walk away from this film a lot, and I think I could agree with you in the sense of like, the script isn't very, you know, it's not very, you know, it's very simple. I'll put it that way. It's a very simple script. But I think what I really engage with this is because one thing I've realized with Jacques Demy as a filmmaker, he is, this is going to be a very weird comparison to everyone when I say this, but I kind of get similarities to Guillermo del Toro in the sense of Guillermo del Toro as a storyteller is very fairy tale like. Like he seems to gravitate towards making more fairy tale type of stories that are more about whimsy and a bit more taking you to a different world, and it kind of doesn't need to really hold too hard on let's really develop this character because you're not I'm not watching. You know, it's like when you're reading like a grim fairy tale or like just a general fairy tale, you're reading it to be like, and then the fairy did this, and then Rapunzel let down her hair, and you're kind of like there for that.
Yeah, but what's the motivation? Like, you know,
that's what I mean. And I think that's one thing I've kind of realized, especially when watching Umbrellas of Cherbourg this time around, is like, you don't know anything about Guy or Genevieve. You don't know anything about them. Yeah. But I've kind of like watched it like, but it's kind of like very typical fairy tale type characters. And I think the style of the film lends to being like that since it's so not in reality. Like it's so like we're watching a world where all the sets are sets. Everything is built. Everything is so like extra color and everything, and everyone's singing. So it's like, so it's so far removed from even being in reality that to me, I can kind of let it get away with massively being a lack of that. Because at that point, I'm not there really investing in them. I'm there for the feeling of the film. And I think that's where when it gets to the ending, to me, that I can, again, if you all know, if you've been a listener to this podcast, you'll know that I'm a sucker for any type of romance within film. And romance, I would say, the romance genre, if I would have to say a favorite film genre, which is very, I'm very flip-floppy with that, but I consistently would think, oh, well, probably the romance genre would be my favorite genre within film. More so just because, like, most of my favorite films are within that genre anyway. So, although this doesn't do what a lot of romance films do to me, where, example being, you could look at my favorite film of all time, Her, where I'm invested in that romance because I'm so into these characters. That's a very character, like, developed piece to where, like, when anything happens between them, it's so, like, a bit, it's quite like, I'm there for the bit of the heartbreak because I'm so into these characters. With this film, with Umbrellas of Cherbourg, I'm not feeling that for the characters, but I'm almost feeling it because I'm almost visually seeing that emotion, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, like, you're kind of wrapped up in the feeling of it because of the world that Jacques Demy's created for the characters to operate in, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, it is very much so like when we get to that ending and we see Guy and Genevieve look at each other, and for the first time in like 7 years and everything. And to me, I'm not thinking to myself, oh, Guy and Genevieve, oh my God, they're finally. It's like I'm seeing that situation and I'm thinking how that would be in any situation. So I'm kind of like feeling it because Jacques Demy is almost bringing to life an emotion as opposed to making a 3-dimensional character situation, which is one thing I can understand. When I can't remember who said this, but someone said like it might be Damien Chazelle actually, how like Umbrellas of Cherbourg is it could the how what it achieves, it can only be achieved because it's a film. And I can completely, like, I don't, like, there's been stage adaptations of this, I know that, but I can't imagine this being at all accurately replicated watching it on stage.
For me, it's like if you remove the, like, stunning cinematography and the colours and the way it's all put together, if you remove all that, this is nothing. Like, if it's not a film with the beautiful Technicolor and the built sets and all that kind of stuff, this is not anything.
And I think even the fact of, like, again, because you could be like, oh, well, he took from opera because of the style of it. But I think, like, but the fact he did that within film and the way he did it makes it a lot more interesting. I don't know, like, because again, like, I'll say it now, I'm usually very anti this type of musical when every bit of dialogue is sung. I hate Les Mis. I think Les Mis sucks. Like, I really don't like that. And it's because everything's sung. And there's a reason why I couldn't get invested in Rent, because every blinking thing, everything's a song.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't get invested in anything. But I think it's the fact of, like, I don't know, because again, it is just so constant that it's like, again, it always takes me a bit to adjust when it's like the film starts and it's just like, is my car done? Yes, it is. Thank you. You're welcome.
It makes me laugh.
Can you stay over tonight? Oh no, I'm busy. Maybe Samuel can. You know, it's like, all right.
It makes me laugh when they start getting into arguments with it, because he's like, "Did you check this man's oil?" And he's like, "Yes, I did." "No, you didn't, you little fuck." And all, like all this kind of stuff.
There's just the one bit where it's the one bit where it's like, "Hey, the boss wants you." Shit.
Yeah, shit. It's so good.
But like, to me, like, once we get to like part 2, I'm like, well, I know what I get it now. Like, I'm kind of like, it. Yeah. And there's like the bits where like the mother's saying one thing and then Genevieve's saying something, and it's kind of like da 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 da.
Yeah,
it's
that stuff I liked quite a lot when it was like the actual lyrics of the song itself was escalating the kind of drama of the scene, just how they were singing it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and again, I don't think I would want to watch loads of films like this.
No,
like, in all honesty, like, again, it's not my type of musical. To be quite frank, like, again, Young Girls of Rochefort, which he did after this film, that's my more type of musical where we have breaks and then people start singing and dancing.
Yeah.
And then we're back to the film type of thing where we actually have songs is more my type of musical. But I don't know. I think, again, as I said, the film is so fairy tale-esque that I can kind of understand the whimsy and I can get into it type of thing.
So this is where I'm kind of like the complete opposite with you in this. Is that, you know how you said you think it gets better as it goes along? And all that kind of stuff. I so much prefer the first bit of this, because at that point, when they are madly in love with each other and they're together, the whimsy and stuff makes sense. It's like, it's all colourful and whimsical and they're together and they're in love and they're having a great time. And then they go away, but the world still stays all colourful and we're still singing every line and all this kind of stuff. But we're just following a fucking miserable person for the whole thing. And her mum, who's bizarre and is just making terrible decisions on her behalf constantly.
Yeah.
It's just following 2 unlikable people that I don't care about. but she's like constantly just sad because she only, her only characteristic is being in love with Guy. And so it loses the kind of any charm that it previously had in part one for me.
Right.
So yeah, that's I think we're kind of complete opposites on this.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like, but again, this is also very telling of how we are anyway. The sense of like,
yes.
You're like, you like happily ever after anything, and I'm just like, no, let nothing happy happen.
Yeah. Everyone's miserable, and that's fine.
Just let it end. Just let's accept being miserable. It's fine. We can be happy, not like this.
Yeah.
So it's like, I find it, and again, it's like, I think I always have a difficult time really getting into. Again, I'm always a bit funny if we're just in a relationship and we're like, they're like, isn't just everything wonderful and just everything's just like so lovely. I'm like, yeah, but then I also will say like, the age of these characters helps the story to me in the sense of like when it's like, because to me, if I'm seeing like two people in their mid to late 20s like this, I'm like, grow up.
Yeah. West Side Story.
No, aren't they young?
I have no idea how old Tony's supposed to be, but he's an idiot. Either way, he's a moron.
Go to our West Side Story episode. It's when it's like, oh, like Genevieve, like when the story starts, Genevieve is 17 and Guy is 20. So I'm like, okay, they're both like young morons.
Yeah, I suppose,
like it's like when Genevieve is like, oh, we're going to get married. And he's like, you're an idiot. She goes, you're pretty docile, but of course you would be like that if you feel like you've met the love of your life type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, which also helps to me when I'm watching these two just sing songs happily together. And because I'm like, well, this is not at all how it is or feels at all or anything like that. But I can buy it feeling like that for two young people at this point, like two people like
I suppose
this.
that kind of helps with the melodrama as well.
Yeah.
It's so melodramatic once he's gone away. So a point where I'm kind of like, as someone who has lived in a long distance relationship for quite some time, it's not what it's like. Yeah, it sucks, but like you're not like falling over and being like, I just can't do anything. I'll probably just die. I'll probably just curl up in a ball and die because you're not here. Like
the film's so like, as you say, it is so melodramatic. It is so like old 60s cinematic dramatic in that sense, where it is like so like I mean we talked a bit about it like in the Philadelphia story episode where we were like, yeah, it's so like that's not how we make films anymore, but I feel like
that was kind of what drama was back in the 60s, I guess.
Yeah. And again, I think I think it especially helps with the fact of like this is so like, it's not Hollywood, it's France, but it's so like whimsy Hollywood-esque type of thing where it's like everything's brightly colored, everyone's sing-song dancey, and although everyone's not dancey, it's not a dancey film.
I wish it was.
I'm not toe tapping.
I was waiting this whole time for a big umbrella dance number. Everyone's spinning umbrellas and stuff.
We got the walking in the intro. We got the people.
Yeah, that doesn't count. That's just people going about their day. That's nothing.
One day we might cover Singing in the Rain. I wouldn't mind doing that.
Yeah,
but again, if you go to again, this is what I mean when I think Damien Chazelle has ruined this for people. When he's going like, if people are loving La La Land and they're like, oh, let's see this film, because I'm not being funny. This is like kind of the first time I heard about the Umbrellas of Cherbourg, and like how I first really heard about Jacques Demy when people were kind of like saying what films to watch after La La Land. So I was like, there's many influence. Again, La La Land has taken. I just think La La Land just took loads of influences from 50s and 60s musicals anyway. I don't think La La Land's like specifically. I don't think it's specifically.
That's what he set out to make. It's like saying J.J. Abrams making Super 8 and everyone being like, he just took loads of inspiration from Spielberg films because he wanted to make a Spielberg film. That's the point.
Yeah, and I think like anyone, like I don't know, like I knew of this film in the sense where people said like, "Oh, this is kind of like this is Damien Chazelle's favorite film, and this is the film he kind of blueprinted a lot of this with it." But I don't know. I think it's like. I know we said we won't be comparing it lows, but here I am doing it again, and it's a little bit blasphemous to you what I'm about to say.
What?
Right, and again in this regard, and again people stay tuned for when eventually we'll upload the La La Land commentary because there's a lot that
it'll happen one of these days.
Sooner than later, I will say that. I will say sooner than later. But I said a lot about my piece with my thoughts on that film.
Yes.
And one of my main things with that film was that I couldn't get at all involved with the Seb and Mia relationship. That just was not a thing I could attach myself to at all. I'm at least a little bit more invested in Guy and Genevieve.
No, you're not.
Seb and Mia. No, I am.
Right, okay.
I can tell you now, right? I can tell you now, and as I said, I mean, I've already said, like, how I am with this. It's like these two characters aren't exactly, like, you know, they're not three-dimensional people, but they're not trying to be.
This is insanity.
Unlike La La Land, where they're trying to be three-dimensional. And whereas with this film, and again, I can't explain it. And as I say every time, film is just a feeling to me. There's a lot of things where sometimes I can give a very thought-out, direct answer to why I like a thing or why I don't like a thing. But sometimes I'm like, oh no, I just have that feeling. And when at the end of La La Land, when Mia and Seb are looking at each other at the very end and they part ways, I'm just dry. In the eyes and emotionally. There's just nothing at all happening with me in that moment. I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. Whereas, like, at least when Guy and Genevieve are looking at each other for the final time before she goes in the car, I'm at least a little bit like, aw.
No.
It's a shame.
Okay.
That's it. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. The film just does enough of it. It establishes itself enough of as like an emotion by that point to where this is what I mean in the sense like I've spent 90 minutes just kind of like basking in the vision that Jacques Demy is trying to show me, and then when it gets to the end, I've enjoyed being in the passenger seat with Jacques Demy at this point, to where he has successfully taken me to where he wanted me to feel.
No, so someone in the edit, please insert that clip of Michael Shannon being like heresy. So someone put that in there, please, because that's ridiculous. Can we talk about the ending briefly? Because I have so many questions about the ending that I want to.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so first thing about the ending. So he marries Madeline.
Yes.
Another character we know nothing about, apart from the fact that she looked after his auntie. Yeah. Is she nice? Probably. I don't know. I have no idea. So
she seemed it.
She goes off. Again, it's the 60s, so I can't really complain about this. She leaves the garage, which they presumably live in, which I'll get onto that in a minute. So she leaves.
I think I know where this is going, but I'll let it play out. And
she leaves the garage with the boy. Yes, with their child Francois, or whatever he's called. Right?
He's Francois.
They leave, right, to go and look at toys in windows.
They're going to go see Santa.
I know it's the 9th. Well, that's not what she said. She said we're going to have a look at the toys in the window, in the shop windows.
Well, I just know because Guy looked at Francois and he was like, "Say hello to Santa from me." So they're going to.
Yeah, I suppose they'll go see a shop Santa, but also
they're going to go to Fenwick Window.
They're going to go to Middleton Grange and see Santa's Claus. But like, I mean, is that really what you're taking your son out for? Like, that's boring for him, surely. That's what this is. This is a very moot point that I'm making. I'm just complaining for the sake of complaining. But I was going
to say this is a very Robbie complaint that's happening right now.
Taking your kid out to the toy shop to look at the window. They'll just go, "Can I have that?" "No, you can look at it." "Now let's go." And that's it. They just go and look at the window.
No, but like, hang on.
Anyway,
I'm not going to get in a bicker about this scenario.
The scenario that I've fabricated in my head from vague messages given to me by this film. So, what's she called? Guinevere?
Just yeah.
She shows up with her daughter, yeah. Right?
Francoise.
Françoise, or whatever.
Whatever the female pronunciation of Francois is.
Yeah. Guy comes outside to see and sees at his hair, and then she gets out of the car instantly and goes, "It's cold out here," and he goes, "Let's go into my office." Leave your fucking daughter in the car though with the windows open, because fuck her, I guess. if you can't in front of your daughter go, "It's cold, we should go inside," and then leave her in the car with the window open and it's snowing.
I agree. No, I don't have an argument. I don't have an argument for that.
She's a bad mum, and he knows that he's the father of that child, so he should at least, he has some responsibility there. So they're both terrible. Anyway, she takes him inside, and their conversation, I'll do a reenactment of what I think the conversation is. You ready? They go, "Hello, I was in Cherbourg for a reason that is definitely not to see you." And he goes, "Yeah, whatever." And then she goes, "I'm married now with a child." And he says, "I am also married now with a child." And she goes, "Oh, excellent, are you happy?" And he says, "Yeah, kind of, but not really." And she goes, "Yeah, me too." And then they leave. And that's how the movie ends. Thank you. Thank you very much. They don't talk about anything. They walk in and go, "Are you married with a kid now?" And as an audience member, I go, yeah, because I've seen this for the last half an hour. And they go, "Yes." And then they go, "Are you married with a kid now?" And I go, "Yes, because I've seen this about an hour ago." And then she goes, "Yes." And then they go, "Cool. Well, this is shit. Bye."
But they don't need to say anymore.
Yeah, because do you know why they don't need to say anymore? Because it means nothing. Because they haven't been.
What did you want?
For the movie to do anything, for anyone to have learned anything by the end. They are in love, and then they split up for a bit, and they don't get together, and then the movie ends.
Yeah.
All right. Fine.
It's just a story of it's a story of young love that didn't end up lasting. That's what it is.
It's a story of nothing.
No, it's a story of literally what I just said to you right there.
Yeah, but
it's a story of young love. It's a story of nothing. You can just say that about anything at that point.
It would be like, right. So picture this, Oscar, right?
I've got my glasses on.
You've seen The Lord of the Rings, yes?
Once, yeah.
Yeah, so imagine if Frodo was given the ring and said there's this big grand adventure to go on. And he goes, "Actually, no." And Gandalf goes, "No worries," takes the ring and takes it to someone else. And those other people go on the adventure. But the rest of the film still follows Frodo. And then it ends and he doesn't learn anything.
So what you're saying is, you would have liked to follow the war instead.
I would have liked to have followed two people who do anything. Nothing really happens. You know. But if anything, actually, yeah, I would like to follow the war, because at least something would be going on. There would be some jeopardy, as opposed to following. Yeah, because she doesn't do anything when she's at home, except a guy that I don't know, because apparently he was in another movie that I haven't seen, shows up and says, "I would like to marry you." And she goes, "No." And then after a while she goes, "All right."
Jacques Demy pulls an M like Shyamalan and makes a select few people go, "It's that guy!"
Oh my god, it's Bruce Willis and he's asking for her hand in marriage.
And everyone's like, "What?
What? It's like he was in a movie from 2003. Yeah, well, it's 2016, so who cares?
It has some people go like, "Is that Bruce Willis?" And this one, and of course, this film also has some people going, "Is that Mark Michel?"
Oh my god! I mean, sorry, this is completely off topic now, but when I went to see Split at the cinema, I vividly remember the 6 people I went to see it with turning to me and going, "What was with Bruce Willis at the end?" And I had to explain that a movie came out about a decade and a half ago called Unbreakable.
I will say as well. Again, brief detour for a second. Not quite the exact same thing. But I was sat with my girlfriend at the time, and like the film, and weirdly enough, he made it like a weird after credit scene as well, but not quite an after credit scene. So the tile split came on, and people were like there was like two groups of people that already left at that point. And then the scene keeps playing. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I see Bruce Willis, and he goes, his name was Mr. Glass. And then I'm there. I go like this. Ah! And then my girlfriend goes, what was that? And I was like, he's from Unbreakable. It's like...
he's made a cinematic universe for no reason. What does he call that trilogy? Isn't it named after... Yeah, there's a name for it. I think it's...
I don't know.
I'm going to Google this, but I think it's the name of the train that Bruce Willis was on when it crashed or something.
Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting name.
I think that's what it's called.
But yeah, my hot take with that as well. Like, I love Unbreakable. It's my favorite Shyamalan film. I really like Split. Good time. And I didn't mind Glass. I enjoy Glass.
It's okay. It's good. It's real good until... Again, actually, yeah, it's a bit of a Wonder Vision situation. It was real good until it wasn't, when Bruce Willis got drowned in a puddle or whatever.
It's like the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called the East Rail 177 trilogy, apparently.
That's so weird. Just call it the Unbreakable trilogy.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Just call it the Unbreakable. Anyway.
Oh, God.
Umbrellas of Cherbourg. Does the Young Girls of Rochefort have anything advanced on it? There's like... No, it doesn't. There was like an attempt almost to make the Young Girls of Rochefort connected, but then they went, never mind. Never mind.
Does Guy walk into a bar at one point and start shouting at people and leave, and he's got 5 o'clock shadow?
No.
So we know exactly in the timeline where it takes place.
Oh, no, but I want to talk about that briefly. I love that section of the film, not from like that's so like emotionally, but it's just, again, I like a little bit of silliness in my cinema. And then, and again, it's not like totally like nuts, but it's like, I have to like have a little bit of like a nice little chuckle.
Yeah.
Just like a nice like, that's funny. When it's like, then we see him and it's like, all of a sudden, he's not smiling, and he's got a bit of a shadow. It's like, oh!
It's when he goes into that bar and he's like...
It's good, because this man's like this.
Yeah.
Through the whole film. Through every time of the film, he's just like this. And his eyebrows are like...
Yeah.
It's just, everything's just so wonderful. And then it's like... And then when we get to this section of the film, and it's like... Guy, the boss needs you. And he just goes...
It's
like, ooh,
whoa! It's when he goes.
Are you on about the bar where he goes like champagne or whatever?
He's like, I want white wine, and then he's like, nicks it, and he's like, I want another white wine. And he nicks it again. He's like, take it out of this, and he's like, you ain't got any change. He's like, fuck you for asking me for change. It's like, why don't you do your job? It's like, chill out, man. It's like,
first of all, really confusing thing to get annoyed at by the barman. It's like, yeah. She's like, what? You've only got to know. What are you having me on for? It's like, all right, mate, it's fine. It's the 60s. You have to deal with this anyway. What do you mean?
Exactly. And surely it would only be like a €10 note. And if it's 2 glasses of wine, it's probably going to cost him €6. You're telling me you can't just go and get €4.
and then Guy just stands up. Oh, what the hell with you then?
Just 2 men unnecessarily fuming at each other for no reason.
There's a bit where he's just moodily walking down the path as well. And he just kicks something.
Yeah, he just kicks something into the sea. And there's that bit where he like bumps shoulders with someone as well. For no reason at all, just inconveniencing their day.
Do you know what that reminded me of? The moment. This is a very niche reference.
Oh yeah, go on.
This is a big. And this is a thing that all the Northern School of Art folk would get. It's just the. It just reminded me of that one clip in Midnight after when Quinn walks away from the bar and he just pushes Gemma.
Yeah, for no reason, he just shoves Gemma.
It just reminds me of that, where it's just like, just bumps into a dude. And I don't know why, in my head I'm watching that, I'm like, is this, part of me is like, I'm almost expecting to find out like, oh yeah, this is where Sam Raimi got his influence from Moody Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
Yeah, or even like Evil Superman in Superman 3. Yeah. Which this is, again, like, this is the second reference I've made to Superman 3 this season for some reason. Yeah, to show that Superman's evil, he just scowls a bit and has a 5 o'clock shadow. Which is great.
I want to say, the guy, what's his name again? I would say
Guy.
the actor Nino Castelnuovo. Nuovo.
All right.
Nino, we call him Nino.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is this man has the potential to. I need to investigate if any more films with him in, because all I'm saying is he has the potential to be on the Intermission list of charming men. But so far, it's like he's got he's not a Jimmy Stewart. He's not a Jimmy Stewart. He's not a I forgot the bloke's name from Miracle on 34th Street, but that
Chris
guy.
Kringle.
No, not the lawyer.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Chris Kringle.
Okay.
Who's the dude from Miracle on 34th Street? Oh, yes, Santa.
Oh, fictional man Santa Christmas. Well, I suppose he's not fictional, is he? It was proven in a court of law.
Yeah, and fourth member of Mount Rushmore, of the Intermission route Mount Rushmore.
It really is.
Chris Kringle. But yeah, I think like it's a good cast in this film, I would say, in terms of like they all have a good look to them. That might sound odd, but like I mean, in the sense of like no one seems miscast in anything.
I actually really liked the mum. I thought she was very good, even though the character was bizarre and weird.
Anne Vernon.
Yes, she was very good.
Yeah,
I think John Payne is the guy we were talking about from Milk on 34th Street. Did he play Fred Gailey?
Yes, he did. Because I remember we were like Fred Gailey and Georgia Bailey are like the charmers of Christmas.
Oh yeah, there you go. So John Payne's your man.
Yeah, John Payne, and but I also want to say that Catherine Deneuve, the lead, I would say the lead, also crazy. I discovered she was 19 when filming this film. So.
Whoa. Good for
ridiculously talented.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Again, she's better than Young Girls of Rochefort, I will say that. But I like her. I think that's the thing with this film is like, I think I like it because I'm watching it not for 3 dimension. I'm watching it because I'm enjoying the whimsy of it. And and one thing that I always think back with this film is that it was a Criterion Closet episode with Paul Dano, which is one of my favorite Criterion Closet videos because the man picks up right after saying, "Oh, I have to be very careful. This feels very more fragile," and then picks up a Blu-ray, then instantly drops it. Just
what a guy.
Love that, man. But he said, one of the ones he picked up the Jacques Demy box set, and he said like, "Oh, I'm definitely going to." Because of course he said this. He said he was going to show his 1-year-old the films of Jacques Demy, basically.
Why?
Because obviously he is. But I can almost see this in the sense like this is almost a good. It's almost a good type of film to make like a child's first wanky film. In the sense of like it's not a wanky film at all, I don't think. But you know what I mean? It's like if you just almost want to like. If you have a kid and you're like, oh, I want them to watch like some classic cinema, what might get their interest? Just a film that's all colours and just all songs.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Like, and it's an hour and a half as well, so it's not
real long. Yeah.
And again, it's not like you really need to you need to really pay attention to anything to understand anything. Yeah. It's so simple. The film is so simple that it is almost just a really accessible first French film.
Yeah, I would say so.
Like, if you don't want to try to focus on really in-depth character and you just want something nice and pleasing to the eye and the ear.
I mean, my first French film was Breathless.
Jesus.
Yeah, man.
Rest in peace, Jean-Luc Godard. This is the first episode we've
had
since
he's passed away, hasn't he?
Yeah. One day we'll get to Breathless. One day.
Yeah, one of these days.
One day we will.
Don't rush to it. Anyway.
It's on the list, but again, it's not high on the list for it.
Oh, okay. Do you have a list?
I have a list of a load of films I want to get to.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Do you keep it locked away in a safe somewhere so that I can't access it?
I mean, it's just on my hard drive.
Okay. Well, then one of these days I will steal your hard drive. If you're wondering where it's gone.
I mean, please don't. It's the hard drive that's got literally all the Intermission, as well as all my scripts.
It's got all my porn, Robbie. Sorry, I was waiting for for an opportunity just to sneak the joke in. Apologies.
It's just got like Oscar. It's got a direct thing that just says Oscar's adult videos, and then you click on it, but then it's just like slightly scandalous black and white things.
Everything's named in the third person as well. You go in this 3 folds. It's just Oscar's podcast, Oscar's scripts, Oscar's adult videos.
It's got all of R&Q on there as well.
Oh wow.
It's remember that because there was that scary point where like the hard drive was disconnected all the time. I was like, oh no, my hard drive's disconnected. That's got everything on it.
That has literally everything. I got a new hard drive, by the way.
All right.
You know how mine's been broken for like a year and a half, and everyone kept shouting at me at uni to get a new one.
Yes.
I did it.
Finally.
I finally did that. Yeah, man. Oh god.
But yeah, I'll say I feel like I'm not sure if we. Is there any more specifics with Umbrellas of Cherbourg that you want to talk about?
I don't think so.
I think as well in terms of cinematography, I'm a big fan of the editing. Again, there's a lot of like really nice editing.
There's a lovely match cut to when she's getting married.
There's a good few match cuts, I think, in this. Yeah, no, the married one's really good. I like another bit of the cinematography because I'm a big fan of a close up, just a head straight on shot, and I think that's also where I think's a prime example of film cinematography is where you could just see all that nice film detail of someone's face, and specifically the eyes. Where you see Catherine Deneuve's eyes, it's just so like strikingly blue.
Ridiculously blue.
It's just so like because obviously the sets and all that all very they're designed to be that bright and whatnot, but it's just very like something where you see how film is capturing just natural color in that regard. It's so like striking in a way, which is a way of like again, and I like the film, but I do also think this film would benefit if it was longer to like. No, in the sense of like, because I would have really liked to have seen Guy and Madeline, like after, like as when they took right before part 3. I'm like, I would have liked if part 2 just kept going a bit, so we could have seen Guy and Madeline.
Yeah, get to know Madeline a bit more.
Because I feel like there's some of that with Madeline, like in the sense of like the actress does a good enough job, and I think the film does a good enough job in a way of making us feel like she is an important character to Guy, but not enough to where I'm like, oh yeah, I can really understand them married and with
it's
a
like
child.
that makes sense. That's the only way this story could have gone. Yeah, it's not like that with her.
I would have liked that. If anything, I almost would have liked if each part was more like part 1 was just Guy and Madeline, not Madeline, Guy and Genevieve, which it was. Part 2, did we have 4? No, it was only 3 parts, but was the end in its own part? Can't remember.
I can't remember.
I can't, either way. But like Guy and Genevieve, part 2 would have been Genevieve and Roland. You know, that would have been nice actually. Just to have like see them a bit more.
Yes.
As opposed to like, I want to marry her. She's like, okay.
I thought you were. Yeah, okay. I mean, I thought he was hitting on her mum. I thought that was where we were going.
That's how it came across. That's all I'm saying. Yeah,
I thought the mum wanted to be with him. But,
I mean, she probably did, but you know.
Well, yeah, maybe handsome chap, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Lovely mustache. Also, he looked a lot like Damien Chazelle. I thought.
maybe that's where he connects.
Maybe it genuinely could have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Babylon just to be Lola.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's something we need to talk about in the intermission.
Yeah, we will. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's that, and it would have been, and then like the next part when Guy got back, it would have been nice to have that part just be Guy and Madeline. So then we almost had like a nice first part of knowing these two people, and then a second part, another part of like, okay, Genevieve and another guy, and getting to know them as like another item, and then another of Guy and Madeline, getting to know them as like another thing, to when we get to the ending and Genevieve and Guy once again meet, then it would feel a bit more like, shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
because then it like even, do you know what I think would have turned this movie around, right? If Genevieve was happy to be with Roland.
Yes. Yeah.
Because if that's the case, then you've kind of like, I don't know, you can do a bit where she's sad about Guy, but then if she's like happily with someone else, and then we get Guy coming back and he has to get over it, and then he gets with Madeline and we see him happy with someone else, and then they see each other again.
Yeah.
That's more impactful than just having someone who is miserable because the guy left, and then someone else wants to marry her, and then she begrudgingly agrees, continues to be miserable, and then they just see each other at the end. And it's like, well, why keep being miserable? You could have just waited.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, because I mean, and again, I think it's not even like I need the film to be anything different. I feel like almost all the ingredients are there. I just needed more of the film, almost. And again, it's not even like the film's not a miserable place to stay in all honesty. If the film wanted to be 2 hours, like an extra 15 minutes between each of like Guy and Madeline and Genevieve and Roland, like if we just had 15 extra minutes of that of each of those storylines would have been enough. Because again, with a musical, the beauty of a musical is you can cram a lot of time because you're singing.
Yeah.
So it just feels like, again, that's the beauty. One of my favorite examples is in The Greatest Showman, where in one song we see a man's growing up and marriage. And it's done really well, I think.
It's done really well, yeah.
And I think, like, obviously it's not that type of musical with the Umbrellas of Cherbourg, but I feel like you could have, again, with the way it is, of the way it's shot and the way it's, edited, it could have just 15 minutes would have been plenty of time between each of these storylines. And then, again, a 2-hour musical would have still been digestible and fine. Yeah. It wouldn't have been overstayed its welcome. Again, I would have liked to seen just more of the other relationships that became. And I do think that would have been a bit more of like a gut punch at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Another thing I want to comment about is like, I think this is some of the amazing use of moving masters in all honesty.
Yeah, it is. The blocking in this is fantastic. It's really well done.
It's mostly moving camera.
Yeah.
In this,
which for the time is quite unusual.
God, I can only imagine the tracks.
Yeah. It would have been mental.
Just right, and then round, and then
you could have literally got a locomotive on it if you wanted to. Like, it's just huge, cumbersome tracks.
Yeah, again, I think that's kind of what, and that helps the fact this isn't a dancing musical. The fact that we are just being swept through these really beautifully done sets. In all honesty, we're just kind of just going through the set. It does make it feel more like whimsical, as if we're like, oh wow. Look at this type of thing. So, like, that's one thing I think anything. Again, no matter what you may think of the film, I don't think if you're faulting the filmmaker, you're insane. Like,
that is the thing that is least wrong with this is how it is put together. It looks great.
And I think, like, in that regard, again, I do have another Jacques Demy film planned for a future season. Oh. And spoilers, it's the young girl at Rochefort. It's the young girl at Rochefort eventually. But I think, like, him as a filmmaker is like easily like, oh no, I think he is like one of the people that really did master the medium of film to its like height, in the sense of like the films that he made could not have been made in any other format than film, in all honesty. And I think this is an example of this. Again, however you may feel of the film, I really liked it. Robbie didn't.
No,
you can't. Again, this did get made into a stage adaptation, but I don't, but nothing. It wouldn't have tried. I can't imagine it being at all the same type of film or story than it being on the big screen. Really.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's like, I think my issues with this is just the script and the story, which is like the filmmaking, the direction, the cinematography. It's all top class. It's someone at the top of their powers, working in a medium that they completely understand.
Yeah.
Because like you said, this couldn't be anything but a film.
Like
So they've tried, but it's probably not as good, I would imagine.
Like, imagine even reading this. Imagine getting this like a
Yeah,
book.
exactly.
What
Yeah.
would it?
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like, what is this? No, absolutely not.
Meanwhile, someone might be like, well, actually, as a video game, it would have outstanding.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. My God.
Imagine Umbrellas of Cherbourg, the game.
The video game. My Christ. I don't even know what you would do. Like, what would you even do in that game?
I feel like
about.
I feel like that'll be more just point and click.
Yeah, press X to mope.
Where?
Where? What is it, a Mario crossover? What?
You know what? An Umbrellas of Cherbourg level on like a Mario game would actually be interesting.
I'll be well into that.
Like, you just have to hop on the umbrellas.
Yeah, replace it. Replace Genevieve with
Peach.
Princess Peach and Guy with Mario. It's like, I'm sorry, I've got to go off at the war.
Roland is Waluigi.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
marry sorry.
Peach. I want to marry Peach. Why?
I've got to go on a fight in a World War II. Wahoo!
You're like Toad as the barman.
Oh God.
Daisy is Madeline.
What's your problem? Just give me my fucking change.
I don't just really want. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised actually if there's just like a shirt where it's the Umbrellas of Cherbourg, but like Mario characters. If it isn't, I'll try and make that actually, because Jesus Christ, that'd be funny.
I can't think of any pun to do with the name. I'm trying real hard.
No, but that makes it even funnier. It's just the Umbrellas of Cherbourg. But it's like, but wait, is that Mario and Peach?
But it's Mario. But it's Mario for no reason.
I almost like the thought of the design not even replacing Catherine Deneuve, but just keeping Catherine Deneuve and then just having Mario next to her. Like, this image that's behind me right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, audio-only listeners. But, like,
that with just Mario.
But still keeping Catherine Deneuve.
Yeah.
But just having Mario.
Just for no reason at all.
They'd be like, wait, is that Mario?
Why is that Mario? Please put that on a t-shirt. For the love of God.
I'll try. I'll look into doing that.
Yes.
But I think with that being said, I think that might draw us to the end of the Umbrellas of Cherbourg. Overall, I enjoy it. I still think essential's not the right word, and a must-watch isn't even the right word either. It's still worth a watch. It's worth a watch, I think. Again, it's not a long film either, man. It's 90 minutes. It's one of the short ones we've talked about. It might be the shortest film we've talked about, actually, on the Intermission. So yeah, Umbrellas of Cherbourg. That's our thoughts on it. And we finally dove into French cinema on the podcast.
Why did we? We dove straight in.
And it wasn't with a French New Wave film either. So that's also, I think that's impressive.
Yeah, that's a plus. I'll give us that.
The fact we didn't go like, oh, Jean-Luc Godard or Francois Truffaut or Eric Romer.
Yeah. A pat on the back for us. Well done, everybody.
Jacques Demy was the French debut on the Intermission.
Boo and hiss at the movie, though.
There you go.
Not good.
And with that being said, let's move on to the Intermission section of this. And since we already briefly mentioned about it, the Babylon trailer.
Yeah, don't like it.
I'm not a fan, Robbie.
Don't like it at all. Visually, it's incredibly uninteresting. It looks like Damien Chazelle is just trying to do a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood to the point of like stealing the cast.
Yeah,
like Margot Robbie's in it, Brad Pitt's in it.
I thought he's trying to do that, but also make it very Wolf of Wall Street. Which is
it's
weird.
like it looks real grim and gritty, which is not what I go to a Damien Chazelle film for. I mean, Whiplash, I guess, is kind of. Also, can I? I'm gonna pose a challenge to Damien Chazelle, who is not listening to this podcast.
Absolutely. You don't know. You don't know. You might be like, that's my favorite film. Let me listen to these two goobers talk about it.
In which case, I apologize profusely for slagging off your favorite film for like an hour. So I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but you have no taste. Anyway, a challenge that I posed to Damien Chazelle is, hey man, how you doing? Big fan of your work. Except First Man. That was so boring. Oh no. Here's a challenge for you, mate. Try and make a movie where it's not a protagonist chasing an out there dream to be famous and will do whatever it takes to get there and pushes their family away and then ends up not happy. It's the same movie.
My issue isn't that, because I mean you can have similar themes within your films. He's made 4 films. I haven't seen this first film, but he's made the 3 films that we all have seen have all been 3 very different films, but they have had that where it's been obsession.
It's the same arc,
and yeah, it is, and
it's gonna be the same again. Where Margot Robbie's like she'll do anything to get to where she wants to be, and then she'll end up doing drugs and not being well, and then whatever.
Right, my issue with the Babylon trailer, and this is what I'm slightly worried about the film itself. Again, I'm gonna see it. Obviously, I'm not gonna see it.
We're gonna have to see it, aren't we? Whatever we think of the trailer, we're gonna have to see it.
And also, I think considering the podcast that we do, I think this is also kind of like a thing that we need to see. Yeah, just generally.
Yeah, we should.
But my thing with this is like, because I was saying this to Lewis, I don't know if because this film, the film takes place in the 20s. In the bridge between silent films and talkies. That's the era of this film. That's what this film is. I don't know if this was the scene of Hollywood 1920s. I don't know if it was like this, where it's like people snorting cocaine off breasts and like, what was it, like saying like fuck's sake on someone's tits or something like, you know what I mean? It just seems too... Right, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, yes, 60s, that was the scene that they kind of did. Licorice Pizza, that was 70s Hollywood, and they did, there was some people being weird, but there was like film execs being weird, but that was the 70s of Los Angeles. I don't think, again, Roaring 20s,
it's
alcohol,
like they've just come out of the Depression, I guess, but it's like
prohibition and stuff.
Yeah, but then it's like I don't, because when I think 1920s, I'm America, I'm thinking like Great Gatsby.
Yeah.
And things like that. And that's not like, they have big parties, but I don't know. I think it does look a bit overtly grim.
It just doesn't feel... Again, and I love films about that time period as well anyway. I mean, you could watch our episode on Some Like It Hot, where that took place during that. But I'm just like a fan of films about films as well. I think we need to settle down at some point.
Yeah.
Although I'm interested in the Fabelmans, I will say that.
I can't wait for the Fabelmans.
I've heard a slight side note on that. I've heard apparently it's really soppy, but also you go into that knowing it should be really soppy and really. Yeah. It's apparently it's kind of Oscar baity, but you should also be aware that it is that anyway.
But it's like it's Spielberg telling the story of his own childhood. It's going to be a bit soppy.
He can.
Yeah, he's allowed.
Exactly. Whatever. Yeah. And also that has Paul Dano in it as well. Nice one.
Good on you.
But again, this film, I don't know. It's just, again, I'll wait to see the film, obviously. Yeah. And I reserve judgment because all we've seen is a trailer, and I never like judging films on trailers. I'm just saying, like, what I'm seeing from the film that's giving me at the minute. It's not giving me anything that I'm really interested in.
Yeah. For me, it's like it's giving me visuals that I don't find particularly interesting and I've seen a million times before. What looks to be a main story that I've seen a million times before. And it's just kind of like
actors who aren't really stepping out of
actors who have done these characters before.
Yeah.
Like it's not it doesn't look anything particularly special to me, which is upsetting because I always look forward to Damien Chazelle doing a film. because I like him a lot, but this is not doing it for me thus far.
I want to also comment about something.
Yeah.
There was a thing going about when this film was cast that Tobey Maguire is Charlie Chaplin. And that was a thing that everyone, that was a thing. That wasn't just a rumor. That was a thing that was said. And then the set photos got released, like not the set photos, the images, and with Tobey Maguire all like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he doesn't look like Charlie Chaplin. and then because I'm thinking to myself, right, if this is meant to be 1920s Charlie Chaplin, he was like, that was like just before City Lights, so that's like the kid. The circus era, Charlie Chaplin. So he would have been, I want to say, approaching 40. So, and he didn't look like he did. He didn't look like how Tobey Maguire looked. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then I look at the trailer, and I'm like, there's nothing Chaplin about this. The man's not playing Charlie Chaplin, you idiot. He's credited as a guy called James McKay. Where did this come from? Where did this?
I can tell you. I can clear this up for you.
Is it
his character?
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is he a fictional character that's basically Charlie Chaplin?
He's a fictional character that's based on Charlie Chaplin in the same way that Brad Pitt's character is also based on somebody. Right. I can't remember who, but he is also supposed to be someone, but they changed the name.
Right.
Apparently.
So spoiler alert for what's going to happen with Tobey Maguire. And again, I don't know anything from the film, but this is exactly what's going to happen with Tobey Maguire if this is the case. And if this film, is as subtle as it apparently is, because from this trailer, Babylon seems to really be subtle. I can't, he's, So what James McKay, this character played by Tobey Maguire, we're gonna see Tobey Maguire have a massive rant about talkies and how silent cinema is the way that it should be. He's going to say how talkies are a fad. That's what he's going to do. And he's also going to be married to a 15-year-old. I guarantee you that as well. That's going to happen as well. He's going to be like that, and he's going to be a bit of a comedic guy, and he's going to be a perfectionist. That's as well. He's going to be he's going to be an actor and a director who has to do hundreds of takes. That's what this guy's going to be. And timestamp this for when Babylon comes out, and if I'm wrong, then I'll admit it. But that's exactly what's going to happen. The scene where he's sat there like this, talking
it's
about
going to be him
Robbie,
complaining about talkies.
He's going to he's going to randomly go on a history lesson of silent cinema. I'll tell you that. He's going to randomly start saying like, cinema was invented not with sound, and it's lasted us this long since then, and blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah, and all that stuff. He's going to go on a rant about it, and I tell you that now.
Here's my question about this movie, right? And then we can move on and not talk about this ever again until it comes out.
Until we see it, yes.
Yeah, I guess. So if this movie is supposed to be taking place in the time period where Hollywood is transitioning from silent films to talkies, right? Mm-hmm. Why... And again, this is just from the trailer, so I can't comment if this is what the actual movie is like. Why are we focusing on a character who's only just coming into the film industry, who is not affected by that change at all?
That's what I'm confused at.
Surely it's more interesting to follow someone who's at the peak of their career in the silent era and is struggling with the transition into talkies. Surely that's more interesting than someone who's just coming in during this transitional period where they could learn to do either way.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I thought that's why I thought it would have been in a sense like it would have even been interesting if she got her first break just recently in a big silent role, and they're like, "Oh, she's the new star." I was like, "We're going over to talkies," and then she has to be like, "Wait, what?" Like,
yeah, I don't know. Whereas it looks like she's up and coming during the time when it's changing to talkies anyway. So it's the same Whiplash thing of like, I want to be a star, I want to be remembered, and I'll push myself too far and then overdose on cocaine at one point in the movie, probably, I imagine. That's my thing. Timestamp this. Margot Robbie will overdose at some point in that movie.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just not, again, as we said anyway, that's just not it's not an interesting story to me anymore.
No, I've seen it 100 times.
And I think it's also the way it seems to be told, which just does not seem at all like a new take on anything.
Yeah.
Like,
so
not one bit at all.
I hold out hope for it to be good, but
of course, yes.
At the moment, it's not instilling me with a lot of hope.
Nah, I'll say this as well. I've not been too hot on Damon Chazelle for a while, actually.
Yeah.
Again, it's like Whiplash is the film that I love. That film. That's like, I would say that might be top 20 all time for me. That's like one of my all time faves. That film. And La La Land, you'll see the commentary. I like the film. I'm just not really hot on it. And First Man, I just found really boring. So boring, man.
I think Gosling's very good in it, but the film itself is so kind of aimless in what it's doing. It's not
nothing.
Yeah.
Just nothing.
Yeah.
So and again, this doesn't really excite me, and it's kind of what I've kind of learned by it. It's like the film that I really liked from him was clearly like all he could do at that level, and then he got big with Whiplash, so then he just is now kind of like, well, I'll do this. That's how I'm like, that's not what I liked you for, man. But then he won an Oscar. And then he's, he's not stopping. He's not going back to Whiplash. Is all I'm saying. So I'll hope for something. I hope I like this. I'll say that now. I hope I like this.
Same.
But yeah, and again, and as I said, it's a time period I like. I like this time period in film and cinema and Hollywood. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I want to like it, but who's to say?
Yeah, and we'll move on, and I'll talk about the film that I saw, Robbie. In the cinema.
What did you go see?
I saw Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Oh, did you now? I've not been wanting to see that because I thought it looked horrific. But how was it?
I enjoyed it a lot.
Nice.
I'll say it now. I'm a big fan of the A24 horror era that they're doing slasher films, but they're doing them in an interesting way. I'll say that now without getting too nerdy about the post-horror movement, because that's what I do with dissertation and stuff, and obviously A24 are a big part within that, and they kind of like did films that aren't horror films that aren't slasher films, but recently but obviously now they are doing they're doing more slasher stuff, obviously with X, which I also really liked from earlier this year. I want to say now, no, I have not seen Pearl because it has not got a UK release yet for some reason.
Yes.
I also like the fact how they've got a third film coming out as well. Do you know about that?
I didn't know there was a third one.
Yeah, it's called Maxine with like 3 X's. It's
cool.
following.
Sweet.
It's because obviously X is set in the 70s. Pearl is set, I think, in the 20s. It's set like when it's set when the old woman in X was young, and Maxine is set in the 80s, following Mia Goth, the lead of X, but after the events of X, where she's now a big porn star type of thing. And so I'm interested in that. But anyway, Pearl isn't out yet. That's why I haven't seen it. But Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is obviously another A24 slasher that I'm not going to spoil. I won't spoil it. But I like it a lot in terms of it's a good little twist on the genre of slasher films. As X is as well, but different types of twist with it. I see people aren't too hot on the film because they think it's very in your face Gen Z.
Well that's why I didn't go to see it, because the trailer is very that.
Right, the trailer kind of does this film dirty, I will say that.
Oh, really?
As a lot of A24 horror does, actually, to be fair. A lot of A24 horror isn't great with the trailers. But I think it's almost... Lewis said it's clearly like the film. He liked it as well. He was saying it's clearly like the film's just taking the mick of these types of people. I'm like, I don't know if it's necessarily taking the mick of them, because that generation is also the target audience for the film, and I'll say that it holds a mirror to that generation. I'll say that. So it's not trying to be a parody, but it's also not saying. It's not like they're all bad, but it's also not like, it's not doing one way or the other. I like the acting in it. It took me a while because the lead actor in it, I was trying to work out, why do I know? I thought it's Maria Bakalova from Borat 2.
Oh, yeah.
She's really good. She's really, really good in it, actually, as well. So it's like...
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I'm glad to see her doing other things. Rachel Sennett, who's also in this, who was in one of my favorite films last year, Shiver Baby. She's really good in it. And obviously Pete Davidson is cool in it. Again, he's I think it's nicely funny, but not too much. I think you might enjoy it, Robbie. I'll say that. Again, I always say this a bit of I always feel it's a bit of a gamble in saying it like this. Yeah. I say, right, because I'm always confident in the sense of, like, if we're looking at the A24 horror from this year, first of all, A24, what a banger of a year they've had already. You've got Everything Everywhere All at Once. You've got X, which I enjoyed. I think The Whale is set to come out sometime this year. Maybe for the UK, I don't know, but obviously that's A24. But what a banger of a year anyway they're having. Men, I liked, but I was also very confident in telling you would not like Men. You would not like Men. I will say that right off the bat. Because I got very Midsummer-esque vibes with watching the film. I'm like, so there you go.
Yeah, no, that's not me.
But yeah, but X, I think you would like, but I would think you would think it's a bit slow for the sake of being slow at times. Whereas like Bodies isn't really slow. It is kind of got like this energy. The only time it goes a little bit artsy fartsy is in some of the filmmaking decisions, which doesn't hinder the pace. Like I said to Lewis, like there was times like we chuckle. Like there's a moment where like two characters fall into a swimming pool and there's just an underwater shot of them in the pool. And I went to Lewis, there was literally no reason for them to end up going in the pool, but they just didn't just have a shot of like an underwater.
Just have a nice shot.
Again, I'm like, yeah, sure. Again, I love A24 stuff, so I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? But I can see people like, but why? But and again, I won't say the whole like twist on the genre. I won't say that, but it's a good time with it. A good example I would say is it almost feels like I'm playing a Supermassive game. Is the vibe I get from this, from this film, almost in the sense of like it's very whodunit is the film.
Yeah.
So you have that fun with it, and again, I think it's only 90 minutes as well, so it's not long either.
Oh, okay.
So, So I like it. I like how A24 are kind of doing slasher horror now as well, which and they're doing something a bit unique with it. And I'm not saying Bodies is a really revolutionary film, but I could almost see. Do you know what? I could totally imagine a teenager watching this film and their whole perception on horror changes. Like, wait, it could be like this? And like I can imagine a teenager really getting into this film as like their first low budget indie film and wanting to make a horror like it. You know, it's that type of vibe where like, you know, like how Stuckman had Signs, and although Signs might not be the greatest film, and there's a lot of things you could probably nitpick
I really like Signs.
I like Signs a lot, man. I really do as well.
Yeah.
But there's a lot you could nitpick with that. There's a lot you could nitpick with Bodies. But I think it's like, oh no, it's a good time, and I can imagine someone being really into it. And again, no spoilers, but there was a point that was very funny for me and very too relatable at one point, in the sense of like, all I'm going to say is I appreciate the podcast host representation in this film.
Yes. Hell yeah.
There's a certain moment and you'll howl. Even if it's just that one bit, you'll be like, Christ, of course, type of thing.
Okay.
Good time.
Nice.
I really like Bodies. It was a
excellent
good ass time. And I'm looking forward to October approaching to get more spooky. And
man.
And more horror stuff. I need to book Halloween Ends tickets. I want to see. Not the screen's going to get full, but you know what I mean?
But book in for as quick as you can.
Yeah, I want to be guaranteed to see that film.
Yeah.
I'm
do you know what I've been watching this week?
What have you watched, Robbie?
I've been continuing to watch the exact same things I've been watching for the last 5 weeks, which are House of the Dragon is still coming out weekly. She-Hulk continues to be a show that also exists.
Yeah.
Rings of Power is coming out every week, and Rick and Morty's just started again.
Oh yeah.
So I'll give the audience the lowdown on what I'm thinking of those.
Please do.
House of the Dragon continues to be excellent. I've just watched the latest episode this morning because I watched them not illegally, but I because they air a night before in America.
Yeah.
So I watched them that. So it's the episode that will be coming out on Monday. So that will it will be the latest episode when this podcast episode is out, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And it's like a huge turning point in the season. And it just keeps getting better and better. Every twist and turn is better and better, and the characters are excellent. And it's just really good. I'm really, really enjoying it. Very different to Game of Thrones, which I've started watching recently, which I'm very enjoying. I gave up on Breaking Bad. How
far did you get with Breaking Bad?
I got to the end of season 2, and I was, but everyone's like, but Robbie, it gets real good in season 3, and I'm like, yeah, but I feel like I'm gonna get to the end of season 3, still say it's boring, and everyone go, it gets real good in season 4, Robbie.
I'll say it gets amazing at the end of season 4. I'm not gonna be the one to tell you season. No, but I'm just saying that's how I experienced it. But
Well, then I'm not sitting through it. I just can't be asked. It's so boring. Like every people can attack me for this. This is fine. You know, have your own opinions and whatever. But if I had to sit through one more episode of something goes wrong, will Skylar and Hank find out this week? No, it's all right.
Yeah,
don't worry about it. And it's kind of got to a point with it where it was he found out he no longer had cancer, and he had all of the money that he needed. And I don't think the show made a good enough case for why he would continue to do what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just kind of I feel like we're carrying on him doing what he's doing because we need a show, and I imagine we'll delve deeper into the character as the show goes along. But at this point, you haven't made a good enough case for him to carry on.
Fair.
And I just kind of fell out of love with it. But Game of Thrones is very good. Enjoying that. In stark contrast, but in the same genre, Rings of Power continues to be the most boring thing on television. It's man, I don't know. Everyone who is like huge in Tolkien lore from like the books and stuff are being like, oh well, this could lead to this and this and that. And I'm like, dude, I've seen the Hobbit movies and I've seen the Lord of the Rings movies. I don't know your deep cut Tolkien lore, and by just setting up things that a niche people would know isn't interesting unless I care about the characters, which I currently don't. But fun update with that, Oscar, is that at the end of the most recent episode, they finally decided they were going to go on an adventure. Way!
How many episodes
4
are
hours in, everybody.
Oh, okay, right.
That's the end of episode 4, so we're 4 hours into the show, and one of the storylines has decided that they're going on an adventure. But they ruined it for themselves straight away, because they go, we're going to go, because it's a thing about, like, the Queen was having a vision of the city being flooded or something after the petals fall off a tree or something.
Right.
And then Galadriel was like, we need to team up and whatever, and the Human Queen was like, we're not going to team up because fuck you or something. I don't really know why, because she's an elf, I think. It's very vague. And then she exiles Galadriel and says, you've got to go back to the elf city. But then the petals start falling off the tree, and she's like, oh my god, the vision's coming true. We will band together and fight this or whatever. And then it's like, I will go. So the Queen was like, I'll go. Galadriel was like, I'll go. The guy that's been with them, who I think is meant to be like Aragorn's great granddad or something, put his hand up and he was like, I'll go. And then Aragorn's granddad was like, yeah, I'll go. And so I was like, oh, we're getting a band of 5 people that I've been like following already through these episodes. So there's a chance for me to get invested in these people now because we're focusing on them and they're going to go on an adventure. And then the townspeople started putting their hands up saying that they were going to go, until it was a group of 50 people saying that they were going to go.
Jesus.
And I'm like, I am not going to care about any of you. And I know that I'm not. So, good stuff, everyone. The rest of the storylines continue to be going nowhere and increasingly boring. And, in this most recent episode, 0 hobbits. So what's the fucking point? Yeah. Anyway,
Jesus.
I'll continue to shit on that show as it comes out through the weeks.
That's fair.
What was the other thing I said? Rick and Morty's back. Actually, really good this season so far.
What season
Enjoying
are we on
it.
with this?
We're on season 6 now,
Right.
which is mental. It feels like that's come out very quickly.
I watched the first 2, and then I didn't get right. Here's the thing: the end of the second season, I was well into it, and I'll tell you now,
Yes.
I remember being well into Rick and Morty at that point, and then the third season was coming out, and then the fan base murdered the show for me, and
Yes.
I'm like, oh, I'm embarrassed to say I'm a Rick and Morty fan, so I'm just not watching this show anymore.
It's crazy because they murdered the show with 1 episode, and it's the fucking Pickle Rick episode. Actually, no, 2 episodes. There was Pickle Rick, which was, which is an excellent episode of the show, but ruined by horrible people.
Yes.
And the first episode of series 3 with the Szechuan sauce thing.
Oh yeah.
And then people were just running into McDonald's like lunatics and throwing things at workers and shouting that they wanted the Szechuan sauce or whatever. You are morons.
Idiots.
You're so stupid. Season 3, I think, is the best season of that show. It's very, very good. 4 and 5 were much weaker for me. I was like, maybe this just isn't for me anymore. Because they were kind of, by the end of season 2 and throughout series 3, they kind of start going to more serialized storytelling and actually doing arcs, and there's twists and turns, and it's really cool, and I like it when it does that. And then 4 and 5 specifically went out of their way to not be serialized, and they make reference to it all the time. They're like, stop trying to establish canon and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, yeah, but that's what I'm getting invested in.
Yeah.
They make loads of jokes about, we're going back to a series 1 Rick and Morty where we just do odd adventures or whatever. And I'm like, it's fine when you get the odd episode that is really good, but most of the time they're just really kind of cheap jokes. And
okay.
There was one recently where, what was it? I can't remember the turn of events that happened, but there was a giant egg, as in a giant egg of a woman, not like a dragon egg or something, like a ginormous female's human's egg.
Yeah.
Which was Summer's egg, and these ginormous, like bus-sized sperms, which were Morty's sperms. And then a baby was made from it, and it was a giant floating incest baby in space. And it was horrendous. And it was just like, it's such scraping the bottom of the barrel of toilet humor to the point of being like, what are we even...
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not going to take this seriously, then what am I what am I doing watching it?
Yeah.
But season 6 so far has been really good. We're 3 episodes in, and it's they've done 1 episode. The first episode was very much serialized and being like, this is the direction the show's going in now, after the kind of twist ending of season 5, which was very good. 2 was just a regular kind of fun Rick and Morty episode, which I really enjoyed. And 3 was more so serialized, but again, kind of a fun thing, kind of analyzing the characters a bit more. I like it. It's very good. It's kind of seems to be back on form.
Cool.
So yeah, that's what I've been. And She-Hulk is still shit. I don't know. Like, what do you want from me? I don't know. They tease Daredevil might be in the next one. If he is, I'll talk about it. If he isn't, I'll be thoroughly disappointed, and you'll probably see it in my eyes next week. There you go.
I'm looking forward to, in terms of anticipation for television.
Oh yeah.
I am looking forward because we're approaching October, obviously.
We are.
And that means we're going to get a new Mike Flanagan miniseries on Netflix. So
yeah.
This one is The Midnight Club.
Okay, I haven't seen any of these, so I don't.
Any Mike Flanagan miniseries?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen Blind Manor or Hill House or anything.
Midnight Masters Class, and Hill House might be my favorite horror anything.
Oh, okay. Right. Well, that's very high praise. My sister really liked them when they were coming out.
And I didn't fully watch Blind Manor, but I was enjoying Blind Manor. But then Midnight Mass started coming out, and I wanted to keep on track with that.
Yeah.
But the Midnight Club, this one's a little bit different. This one's like a I think it's like more anthology-based things. It's a bit like like in the sense of like like how is it Don't Be Afraid of the Dark? No, what is it? What am I thinking of? Not Goosebumps. The Nickelodeon one. Is it Don't Be Afraid of the Dark?
Oh,
what
is it? Are You Afraid of the Dark? Tales from the Crypt, maybe?
No, what I think it's like that where it's like because the premise literally is like the Midnight Club follows a group of 5 terminally ill patients at Brightcliff Hospice who begin to gather together at midnight to tell scary stories. So I think from the sounds of things, it's going to be like each episode might just be like, now this one is, and then we get into like something cool and spooky.
And maybe your finale will be something spooky starts happening in the real world to the actual people telling the stories or whatever.
Which I'll be down for. Yeah. So I think I'll probably be talking about that.
Nice.
When that releases, I think
when that rolls around.
Is it 7th of October?
Oh, damn, that's soon.
Yeah, 7th of October. So yeah,
and I'll be able to talk about Werewolf by Night when that's.
Oh, I want to watch that as well, though. So we can, that'll be fun.
I just read an incredibly stupid headline to do with that, by the way. Give me a second. It says, "Werewolf by Night official listing on Disney Plus confirms classic horror era influence." Yeah, I could have told you it was fucking influenced by classic horror from it being in black and white and a horror film. You fucking melon.
But also not just looking at it.
Yeah, just look at it. What do you mean? Yeah, it's been confirmed that it is definitely influenced by classic horror. Yeah, it's a practical werewolf and it's black and white.
I didn't think of the mono sound mix.
Yeah,
anything to do with that as well. God, shut up, idiots.
God, people are so dumb. Anyway, Christ.
But also, before we move on to the intermission, I know, not the intermission. Before we move away from the intermission,
yes.
I want to end this section by, because we didn't say it, we've now got established Team Oscar, Team Robbie.
Oh God, yeah, we have.
We didn't update it properly. We had more votes following the polls, so I just want Robbie. Could you?
Would you like me to read out the team sheets as they currently stand? The
official allegiances.
Okay. I think we should do.
We'll do another one.
We should do another one to see if anyone else votes for it.
I'll do it. We'll say it next week, and then I'll make sure to tag our accounts so that we can share it on our own separate things.
That's a good idea. Yes.
So, yeah.
On Team Oscar currently is Maddie Tweedale, my sister. What a knob. Gary Bradshaw, the man that is.
Also known as the Dark Father from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, the Dark Father apparently. Leo Bradley. Boyfriend of the show, Leo Bradley.
Boyfriend of the show.
Yeah, good on him. Official title. Finley Myers, another good friend of mine, Nobed. Lewis Hamilton, literally the guy that edits the audio for this. You shouldn't be picking sides. Can I just say? He will be listening to this. You shouldn't pick sides with this dude. We are. We're not, are we? Because we don't pay him. I was gonna say we are in. I was going to say we are, in essence, your employers. So, I don't want to throw the phrase "know your place" out there, but
I can't wait for the inevitable just like clash between the two of you.
He's going to be fuming.
We're building an arc as it happens already. We've got like, it's like we almost need like a chronology of like where it started. The Robbie v. Lewis.
It started with him calling me out about the headphones and Adventures Kramer.
That was it, and then it just kept going.
Oh God! So that's Team Oscar, Maddie, Gary, Leo, Finley, Lewis. Team Robbie, Joseph Caslin.
Disgusting.
That feels like a genuine betrayal. That's insane.
That is disgusting. Is all I'm saying.
Thanks, Joe, but that is insane. Do we have any word on Connor yet?
We'll find out next time. All I know is he said to me he was confused at what the poll was when he saw it.
Of course he was.
What does this mean?
Does not surprise me in the slightest.
He was like, "What does this mean?" I'm like, "Connor, it means exactly what it says."
Yeah. Are you Team Oscar or Team Robbie? What? Oh, bless him. Reese Bruce is on my team.
I mean, obviously.
Great success. What do you mean, obviously? He likes us both equally.
No, he's clearly more Team Robbie than he is Team Oscar. Damn. He's Team Oscar when it's convenient. I'll put it that way.
Ethan McCune. Good on her.
Following your boyfriend. I see how it is. How it is.
My God.
Or is it the other way? Or is it the other way round? Did Joe follow his girlfriend? Is that what happened, Joe? That's
what you'd like to believe in it. Tyler McCulloch, birthday boy.
Forever his birthday boy.
He's constantly the birthday boy now. All I'm
saying, Tyler, is I'm still up in Hartlepool and Robbie isn't. So just keep that in mind. Of like,
and
I'll be seeing you.
And the man that I cannot believe supports me to this day, Ryan Tomlinson. For those who are unfamiliar with the saga of Ryan Tomlinson,
this very niche.
It's such a niche joke.
This is so like in depth. This is such a deep cut with Robbie Law.
So this is very deep cut Robbie Law. Let me get the first post when this occurred. Because, this is going to be, like, baffling to most people, so I'm going to have to explain this and try and explain that it is funny, which it kind of isn't, but maybe one day. Where the fuck is the first time I did this? It's not there. There it is. So, on the 9th of October 2017, which is around... Almost 5 years ago now. I uploaded a post on Instagram, which is just a stupid joke post or whatever, and I tagged a person that I went to high school with called Ryan Tomlinson. Lovely lad, nothing against him, but I tagged him in it. And then from that moment on, Ryan Tomlinson has been tagged in every single Instagram post I have ever uploaded. And people go, why do you do that? And there is no reason for it. I just find it really funny to think about whenever I get a like on Instagram post, him getting a notification. And so when I first upload one, he just gets flooded with notifications for no reason. just really inconveniences his day. It's also really funny if you go onto his Instagram account and then go on the tagged photos section.
It's just your
of his account.
It's
just my feed. It's just my account. It is one of the best and longest running practical jokes I've done in my life.
And he's officially Team Robbie.
Yeah, and I'm incredibly proud of it. I'd like to. Is this going to be like the end of the intermission section?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to introduce a new thing. So for the ending of the intermission section, where I'm going to tell a joke every week.
Okay, go on.
Are we ready for this? Okay.
Yes.
Just to give people a bit of levity before we go into the Letterboxd reviews. So this week's joke will be, hey, I went into my local gym and asked them if they could teach me how to do the splits. They said, how flexible are you? I said, well, I can't do Tuesdays or Thursdays. Anyway, on to the Letterboxd, I reckon.
And I can't wait for that to continue being a weekly segment. Like how I was almost going to do a weekly Gary Ode, but then I just didn't do last week. But
yeah, well. It's a laugh, innit?
Anyway, let's move on. We are now on to the negative Letterboxd reviews.
Hell yeah.
If you're unfamiliar with us, this is where we go onto the social media site Letterboxd, and we go onto the film that we've been talking about. In this case, The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, and then we go to the negative reviews because it's funny.
Yeah,
sometimes it's funny. And sometimes we get a Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
I need to go back and like actually collect all of the Hall of Famers.
Yeah, we need like a spreadsheet or something.
Yeah. And because we can tally up if we've got a reoccurring
yes
person. I don't think we ever have really, but yeah, here we go. Right then, half a star. This is obsolete. is the first review.
Okay. I mean, like, come on.
With with distressed emojis next to it, like his face.
Ah, brilliant. Okay, well that's intense, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Half a star. Are you kidding me? Not only does it have colours like La La Land, but it's French. I can't even read, and the fact that I hate French makes it worse. Just watch Zack Snyder's Justice League. Justice is grey instead. Now that is true cinema.
Right. Well, that could have won already. That's fantastic. I was not expecting the turn into Snyder Cut territory.
Right.
Oh god.
Oh, don't be too long. Okay, it's not too long. Okay. Half a star. After 20 minutes, I found myself checking to see if it was almost over. Decided I wouldn't force myself to finish it. Every minute was unbearable. The singer doesn't seem to have anything to do with the music, and every line ends on a high note, which makes it sound like a question, leaving you in a constant light-headed state waiting for someone to sing anything that remotely sounds like a break or an ending. This tension is so grating. Please add a low note or a definitive statement or some acting or some pacing. Oh my god. As for the plot, I generally don't care about a generic romance, so unfortunately I don't think I'll be too invested once it comes time for the guy to be shipped off to war. Rip.
Yo. I mean that implies that they didn't finish it because he said for the guy to be shipped off to war. Rip. Sounds like they think he went off to war and died.
Well, this person also stopped after.
Right, okay, well then, yeah. So they didn't. He's alive. You missed out on him getting really angry at a barman.
He's fine.
He's all right.
He had 5 o'clock shadow, and he ended up dating his auntie's nurse.
Yeah. And then they talk about nothing, and she goes home. Anyway.
Half a star. This is my least favorite movie.
No, it's not.
That was the half a star review.
Don't be ridiculous. It's not your least favorite movie. Save that for someone that deserves it.
Hang on, what's this person's favorite films? I'm just curious.
Oh yeah, out of curiosity, let's have a look.
Oh, interesting. Singing in the Rain is their favorite film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I feel like there's enough to this film to where you can at least
like,
oh, well, at least I can think of Singing in the Rain.
Yeah, at least I can remember that movie that I like.
Yeah. Half a star. As a preface, I love musicals, but I don't have much exposure to experimental formats that stray from the classic American productions. I stopped A Clockwork Orange 3 assault scenes deep for this. A crazy effective... This is bullet pointed, by the way, I just want to say.
Oh, okay.
A crazy effective way to learn a language. When he sang about how she doesn't need makeup, and she's obviously wearing a lot of makeup, I did notice that. I was like,
yeah,
you don't need makeup. It's like there's clearly
He's
mascara.
literally wearing it. Yeah.
Another point, I kind of hate this movie. The point. By today's standards, the story is so predictable, and I find it hard to differentiate between Genevieve's and the mom's voice. That is getting on my nerves because the singing hurts character development, in my opinion. No one has much of a distinct voice.
That's fair.
Next point, where traditional musicals select moments to effectively propel story with song and dance, I just didn't feel this. I just didn't feel the effects of the singing here. I would much rather have seen the film with the lines spoken. That's also fair.
Yeah.
I like the colours? ? And the final point, at least the singing made it go by faster.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I can agree with some of those points.
Half a star. Not a fan of musics generally, but this doesn't even have the good taste to separate the musical numbers from the dialogue so it can go full song and dance. It just has literally every word sung, often crammed into a beat that can't contain the appropriate number of syllables. Unbearable!
what I thought you was gonna say there was this one kid doesn't even have the decency to to separate the songs from the dialogue so it can go fuck itself.
I wish that's how the review ended.
Oh god.
Half a star. There was literally no reason for this to be a musical except to make it so annoying that I stopped it halfway through. What a waste of an hour that I could have been watching Goddard instead. Oh dear. Rated half a star out of pure spite because I'm a bitch like that.
That guy, I bet that guy is awful.
That's a person not fun at parties.
Yeah.
Is all I'm saying.
Come on, man. Oh, I stopped watching Jean-Luc Godard for this. Shut up, man. How no one cares.
Look, I know I went to a uni party dressed as Orson Welles once, but I wasn't.
Yeah, but you were limited on what you could have gone as. It was go as something with the first letter of your first name or whatever.
I said this to my cousin over the weekend, and she went, "You could have been an octopus." And I went,
yeah, but that's but come on. You see, it was either Orson Welles or an orange. All right, so we got. So at least Orson Welles is a bit interesting.
Yeah, exactly. I got asked constantly. I was like, "Who are you?" I was like,
yeah.
do you know Citizen Kane? No, don't worry about it. And that's how I would end it. I would just leave it.
Do you know what's quite funny? I didn't get questioned once on who I was. For context, I went as Reese because I thought it'd be weird to freak him out if I just dressed like him.
No, you just came in wearing a long sleeve shirt and holding a cucumber, and then
yeah, and I did my hair weird.
Yeah, he walked down, looked at you, and went, "Hang on," and then you went, "I'm Reese," and then he just laughed.
I thought it'd freak him out more than it did.
It was like the Spider-Man meme.
Yeah. It's funny because it's like, imagine Reese, but he's been shrunk. Someone's grabbed his feet and his head and just gone shrunk down.
If I remember, I'm gonna throw the photo of the three of us up now from that party.
Yes.
That was.
I had a black eye at the time.
You did. That was during that time. Yeah.
Imagine Reese if he got shrunk and then got in a fight.
And as you can see, if you're curious what Reese is Reese Witherspoon. And he was literally just himself with a blonde wig and he held a plastic spoon.
That was the entire costume. And we said that he looked more like that guy that got done over by Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting.
No, because he was wearing the wig backwards because of the ponytail. So he looked so then every time we saw him, we just kept going how about them apples?
How'd you like them apples? Oh, God, I haven't seen that movie in ages. That's such a good film.
I watched that a month ago. That's become one of the films where it's if I need a cry, I stick that on, and then I'm just in tatters. I'm just absolutely just in a just
every time.
Oh no, it literally is. It's that and 50-50 where I'm just crying every time I'm watching that film.
Yeah,
Jesus, that'd be a good film to talk about. Actually, Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
Solid film.
About Time is currently on Netflix as well. If anybody wants to cry.
Oh, good.
That one makes me sob.
Good film. If you also want another good cry film, if you've got Apple TV Plus, watch Cha Cha Real Smooth. There you go.
I haven't seen that yet.
It's one of my favorites of the year so far. So there you go.
Nice.
Good stuff. Don't look up the writer, director, and actor's age. Don't look it up. It will depress you beyond all belief, Robbie.
Oh dear God. Okay.
Spoiler alert, he's 25 and this is his second feature film.
Oh, fuck off.
So it's not even his big debut. No.
He's already had one.
Yeah, that he also wrote, directed and starred in.
God damn it.
And he's really good. It's not even you can be annoyed at no, he's really good.
That's really irritating. Yeah.
Half a star. I dig musicals, especially romantic ones, but this unmelodic singing really got on my nerves. I guess I need some structure to my music, not just characters speaking dialogue in a sing-song manner. I heard this film was a lot of the inspirational DNA for La La Land and is considered superior. Well, I thought La La Land was trash, but I hated this even more. As terrible as the musical numbers were in that film, at least it was actually a musical.
Strong disagree on a lot of that. This is as musical gets for a start. Yeah. The La La Land musical numbers are also very good. Yeah, so I don't know what that's about. Give me the opening number to La La Land over any song from West Side Story any day of the goddamn week. Please. Come on. That bit where they lift that door open on a lorry and there's just a random band in there. Had a great time.
No, again, get ready for the highlight video when he's really excited about that one moment.
Yeah. All that dude doing a cool BMX flip, that's good. Anyway.
I remember more about West Side Story, man. I do La La Land.
Dear God. I don't remember anything except Maria.
Maria.
No, we don't need to do it again.
What about a da 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 America?
Oh yeah, that's the best song in that musical actually. Yeah.
I like boy, crazy boy.
Yeah.
Stay cool, boy.
That song is much
rocket.
better in the Spielberg version.
I could agree.
It's
yes.
much better in the Spielberg version.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of those films where the original does it better than the remake, but there's a lot of the remake that does it better than the original as well, I would say.
I would much rather watch the Spielberg version than the original version. Just generally of that whole movie, I think the Spielberg version is superior. Sorry to any West Side Story purists. Apologies.
To my mother.
Yes, sorry, Mrs. Fitchett.
Just slagged off her favourite film.
Oh no.
Yeah, and then the final review, half a star. Mary Poppins had an umbrella.
Right, well that wins. That's Hall of Fame, innit? Surely. Mary Poppins.
I'm sorry, it says Mary Poppins, but
yeah, perfect.
But Mary Poppins had an umbrella.
Yeah, fantastic.
Does that beat the Snyder Cut one?
Yeah, because it's to the point as well. And I appreciate how the Snyder Cut one took a way right turn for no reason. But
Mary Poppins
that's perfect.
Actually, I want to say it doesn't technically say Mary Poppins. It says Mary Poppins because it's got two R's. So
brilliant.
So Mary Poppins had an umbrella. Is that the Hall of Famer?
That's a Hall of Famer because, and I'll tell you, I can break down exactly why that's so good. One,
the criteria of Intermission Hall of Fame.
I can imagine a doughy-eyed idiot saying it and not realizing that they've given the film half a star. Right? For a start, it's just Mary Poppins had an umbrella, right? Which is completely irrelevant to anything that's gone on in this film or what anything is.
Just it was a musical with umbrellas of Cherbourg. It's like, Mary Poppins had an umbrella.
It's like, yes, you did well done, mate. Good on you. And then the second point is obviously the misspelling. Makes it infinitely better. So you know what? Good on that. That's a Hall of Famer for me.
So shout out to Ed, who's the Hall of Famer.
Good on you, Ed.
Ed.
What are his favourite films?
Ed's favourite films are
yes.
From 4 to 1. Shrek.
Nice.
RoboCop, the original.
Fantastic.
Cube.
Do I know Cube?
It's like a 1997 sci-fi horror flick.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And his number one favourite film is Happy Gilmore.
Good on him. Good for you, Ed. Keep living your life, man. This is
some. I'm gonna see. I'm looking at his recent activity here. Jesus Christ! I've just seen his. I've just seen his account. He's he's ranked 20 films 5 stars. He's ranked 1 film 4.5.
All right.
8 films 4 stars. 1 film 3.5.
Okay.
1 film 3. 1 film 2.5. No films 2 stars. 1 film 1.5 star. No films 1 star. And he's ranked 27 films half a star. And one of the 20 films he's rated 5 stars, Robbie.
Yeah.
I'm looking at his recent activity, and one of his 5-star reviews is Jackass 3.
Yes, good on him.
With his review being Poop and Puke is funny. And then right next to that, he rated The French Dispatch half a star with his review, didn't watch it, plus French people suck fuck Rudy Gobert. He also rewatched No Time to Die, giving it half a star with his review. I just want to say spoiler alert for No Time to Die, but he reviewed No Time to Die half a star, saying James Bond dies at the end. I just saved you 3 hours. So,
do you know what's the best part about that is? I would say that even though I like No Time to Die, I would say James Bond dying at the end is the most noteworthy part of the whole thing. He's not even wrong. But if you are, I would say watch it anyway because just see how he dies. My God, he gets wiped out so fucking hard. It's so good. There's nothing left of that man.
Yeah,
Daniel Craig was like, I don't want to get shot, so there's a possibility of me maybe coming back one day. He's like, just atomize me. I want to be a scorch mark on a pavement. I never want to come back to this.
So that was the Hall of Fame review, and I think we found a Hall of Fame just account.
Yeah, good on him.
Ed.
Good for you, Ed.
Which, hang on a minute, hang on. The last bit I want to read of Ed is his location is Planet Sheen, and his about me is farting and shitting every day with the cowabunga emoji.
I could get hours of fun out of this guy. This is brilliant.
I'm trying to look at his profile picture. I can't even tell what it is. It looks like Neo has got a load of plastic straws in his mouth. So yeah. And his username. So go over to his account if you really want to just really proper entertain yourself. Just go to letterboxd.com/Edmungus.
Nice. Not even clever.
No, just Edmungus.
Yeah.
And with that being said, we'll move on to the outro of this episode. And that, you know what? I was thinking once again, you know how like the negative letterbox review segment is always, it always ends up getting on the chopping block, and there's always just one moment that goes, we're keeping it.
Yeah.
I was thinking that because I was like, the last few haven't been great with this. Am I just gonna have to cut this again?
Yeah.
Ed Mungus saved it.
It's been saved by Ed Mungus. Again, that segment of the show is constantly on the ropes. It's constantly getting the 10 count, but somehow it keeps getting back up.
Whenever we have like conversations about stuff within the podcast, Robert, I'm always the one saying to you, don't know about this segment, like, and you're always like, no, Oscar, no, just
because someone always comes back and saves it every time.
And I'm like, okay, I was like, okay, yeah, that was worth it. That was worth it. Again, I'll always remember Too Much Jungle for the Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
And what was it? Not good mustaches or something
like bad mustaches or something. Oh, so good.
There's some good ones, and I'll collect the Hall of Famers and we'll revisit them to like almost just like remind us. That's a good reminder of like why the negative letterbox segments is always a good one, I think. But anyway, do you remember one of my favorite ones? I just remembered it was, again, I can't remember verbatim, but it was from Spirited Away, and I'm not sure if you remember this one, Robbie. One of the reviews was like, my neighbor had this blasting
on the
background while having sex, and then it ended with one of them going like, was that Chinese?
It's just imagining this guy sat in his bed and all he can hear is the faint muffled noises of someone having sex and every now and again something from Spirited Away. And he's just sat there like, oh, this is awful. And then at the end was that Chinese? Oh, brilliant.
Like, I like the thought of someone just logging a film, not because they watched it, but they heard someone, like their neighbor blast
They heard someone else watching it. Whilst they were having a horrific night.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
But yeah, so this week's was Umbrellas of Cherbourg. Next week, Robbie, I need to remember to say the film, the correct film, because this is one of the ones that we changed.
Okay.
This one, next week, Robbie, this is the episode that we need to go through with our challenge of not to swear, because my mum gave us the challenge. So my mum will be watching next week's episode, and in anticipation for the Andrew Dominik film Blonde, about Marilyn Monroe, which is coming out next week on Netflix. We are going to be talking about a Marilyn Monroe film. We are talking about The 7-Year Itch is the name of the film.
Nice.
And I've never seen this film, I know it's a Billy Wilder film, which was also Some Like It Hot. I'm a big Billy Wilder fan, and I know it's Marilyn Monroe. And the only thing I know about this film is this is the one with the grate and the skirt.
Oh, right, okay.
And I know
that's very iconic, isn't it?
Literally, I know nothing else about the film. So
okay, cool. That's exciting.
It'll be an interesting one. We're both in the same boat with this one, Robbie. We know.
Oh yeah. No, I don't know anything.
Nothing. But we're discussing the film where Marilyn Monroe has a skirt blown up.
Yeah.
So that's next week in anticipation for the Ana de Armas film, which I'm looking forward to. Nearly 3 hours, that film, I think. It's like
Is it really?
It's like 2 hours and 40, I think. Yeah. And
Christ, that's a long movie.
NC-17. All I know is as well, it's like NC-17. And I think Ana de Armas is like, it's so confusing. Why?
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently it's like NC-17, and then everyone involved in the film are like, but why?
Oh, okay.
So
that's interesting.
So yeah. But yeah, The 7-Year Itch is next year's film. And I want to say this. I just want to lead in to the Lewis segment. Now, I already know what it is. He's told me about it. So all I'm going to say is, Robbie, Lewis, it's your time to retort to Robbie's comments.
Oh no!
So I want to cue the diss track.
Yes, that's brilliant. I can't even.
I'll say now it wasn't okay. I'll say now it's not as high. It's not as the high point. Is all I'm saying. Sorry, Lewis.
I don't remember what I even said to him last week.
No, it's not even in specific. It's just.
It's just me generally.
It's just a general Robbie diss track.
Fantastic.
So thank you for that, Lewis. I might have to get you next week to explain the lyrics to said diss track.
Oh, don't. You don't have to.
No, because I don't get it. I don't get it. So that's what I mean. I don't understand the joke. Oh. So thank you, Lewis.
Well, I'm very curious about this.
But thank you. But please tell me. Or you can fit it into this if you really want to as well. We can have another segment if you want. Like another section right now if you want to give it a little explanation now.
No, my name's Lewis and I've got no idea what I was on about. I've just been silly, really, just having a bit of fun, like, I don't really, yeah.
Why'd you make a really generic Geordie?
I don't know. They went a bit Peter Beardsley in the end.
Hey, man.
Sorry.
I like
yeah.
I was just a Jamaican.
No, it was.
But anyway, that's been this week's Intermission. It's been a nice one. I'll put it that way.
It has been a nice one, yeah.
I've
enjoyed myself.
Nice late night one. Next week we're talking about the 7-Year Itch.
Yes.
So yeah, thank you all for watching and listening. Remember to subscribe.
Oh yeah, are we doing proper YouTuber things now?
Subscribe.
Remember to smash that like button, guys.
Remember to smash the subscribe button and tickly the like button.
Yeah, man. Make sure you turn on notifications for when we next upload,
which is next week,
etc. Yeah, it's every Saturday.
Because I know most of you who watch this isn't subscribed, so just go subscribe.
God, come on, lads! It's not hard, is it?
Just do it. And with that being said, Robbie, sign us out.
Ta-da, everyone. Tatty bye.